Get started. Welcome to Operation Remote Resilience. My name is Jacquelynne, and I'm a certified Warriors at Ease teacher. And today we will be doing an all levels 30-minute class. Basically, if you've seen any of my other videos, it's going to be about the same general overall full body stretch. Very gentle. We're not having any standing poses today. And then if we have time, a quick mental body scan and our final relaxation. We're going to start by sitting on something. Maybe I'm sitting on a pillow. You can sit on a blanket or a bolster, whatever you have around you that's comfortable. I'm going to start getting grounded wherever you're sitting. Grounding through the hips. And whatever other parts of your body are touching the ground, maybe your feet, your ankles. I'm going to start engaging that core here to protect the lower back. Trying to keep it engaged throughout this practice. Lengthening the spine, keeping the shoulders open. The shoulder blades are down and back. Keeping the chest open. Keeping the chin pushed back. Trying to keep the ears in line with the shoulders. The neck is nice and long and the crown of the head is lifted towards the ceiling. We're going to take a few breaths here. Do a quick check-in. Maybe going through a quick mental body scan now. Noticing if you're holding tension anywhere. And focusing on the breath. If you'd like, placing one hand over the chest and one hand over the belly. And feeling the body move with the breath. Feeling the chest lift and expand on the inhale. Maybe the belly expands also. And on the exhale, feeling the belly relax. The chest lower. We're taking a few breaths here. Just coming to focusing on the breath. Keeping the spine long. On the next exhale, slowly bring the hands back to rest on the legs, wherever that may be. They can be palms down or palms up. Lifting the crown of the head towards the ceiling and engaging the core here. We're going to take an exhale, lowering the left ear to the left shoulder. Feeling a stretch in the neck. Maybe reaching those fingertips out. And pulling slightly with the hand. Maybe pausing and holding this stretch, or if you'd like, doing some dynamic movement with the breath, taking an inhale, turning the chin up towards the ceiling, and exhale, turning the chin towards the clavicle. Maybe going through this motion a few times, or holding in one spot that may need more attention. Just noticing what your body needs right now. On the next inhale, bringing the chin back to face forward and coming back to center, bringing the hand back to the leg. Keeping the spine nice and long, and exhale, bringing the right ear to the right shoulder, maybe reaching those fingertips out. Feeling the stretch in the neck. And trying to keep that chin pushed back. Either holding here, feeling the stretch, or going through some movements with the breath. Inhale, turning the chin up towards the ceiling. Exhale, turning the chin down towards that collarbone. Again, you have the option to continue this motion or holding in a spot that may need more attention. And noticing how this side of the neck feels different than the other side. We usually have a dominant side in terms of what we do with writing or throwing things. So usually our bodies are different on each side, and that's perfectly fine. We're not judging ourselves. And on the next inhale, bringing the chin back to center, bringing the head back to a neutral position. Checking your spine, making sure you're sitting nice and tall. The shoulder blades are down and back. Taking an exhale, dropping chin to chest while keeping those shoulder blades pulling back. Inhale, coming back to neutral. And exhale, dropping the chin, pulling the chin up and dropping the head back. Inhale, coming back to neutral. You can either cycle through this or maybe hold in one spot, maybe with the chin towards the chest or the chin up. Excuse me. Please excuse my assistant. And on the next inhale, coming back to a neutral spine. Taking a few breaths here. Checking the posture again. The core is engaged, shoulders are down and back. Chin is pushing the neck back so the ears are in line with the shoulders. You're going to take an inhale, reaching that left arm up and over towards the right. Feeling a stretch in the side body here. Inhaling back to center. And exhale, reaching over. Maybe walking those fingertips down and out for more support, or bending that elbow for a deeper stretch. And inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, reaching over. Maybe pulling that arm, those fingertips a little more. Inhaling back to center. And exhale, reaching over. Maybe holding here for a few breaths. Trying to keep those shoulders down and back. Breathing here. And inhale, coming back up and bringing the hand all the way back down to the floor. We're going to switch sides now. Re-engaging that posture here. Bringing the right arm up on an inhale. Exhale, reaching over to the left. Inhaling back to center. And exhale, reaching over. Maybe walking those fingertips out. Maybe bending the elbow. And inhaling back to center. Exhale, reaching over. Trying to keep those hips grounded. Inhaling back to center. And exhale, reaching and holding here for a few breaths. The next inhale, coming back to center. We're going to bring our hands in front of us and take a gentle forward fold here. Hands don't have to go very far. They can be right in front of the feet. Trying to keep those shoulders down and back. Very gentle, we try to do a forward fold to balance after doing asymmetrical poses. Then we're going to come to our mat. Come into our tabletop position. Pressing in with the tops of the feet. Our legs are about hip width apart. Pressing into the tops of the feet. If it hurts your ankles, grab a rolled up blanket or towel for some support. Pushing in through the shins and the knees. Planting the palms of the hands and pushing in through the whole palm and the fingers. Shoulder blades are down and back. Our core is engaged, so we have a flat back here. Our spine is nice and long. We're going to take an inhale, dropping the belly, tilting the hips, and gazes up. Exhale, arching the back, separating the shoulder blades, tucking the tailbone. Inhaling, dropping the belly, squeezing the shoulder blades, tilting the hips. Exhaling into cat, arching the back and separating those shoulder blades. And cycling through this a few times on your own breath here. Warming up our spine. On the next inhale, coming back to a neutral spine. From here, we're going to do some hip circles. Starting in one direction, bring the hips all the way around. These circles can be big or small, whatever you need right now. That is gentle enough for your body. Try to get it moving a little bit. And after a few circles in one direction, maybe switching directions. Whenever you're ready, on an inhale, coming back to tabletop in a neutral position. Maybe wiggling those hips side to side if you're still feeling a little bit of tension in that lower back. And from here, taking an exhale and starting to pull those hips back towards the heels. And inhaling, coming back up to all fours. Exhale, pulling the hips back, maybe a bit farther this time. Inhaling back to center. Exhale, pulling the hips towards the heels. Inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, we're going to pull the hips back and come into our child's pose. If you like, grabbing a pillow between the hips and the heels for some support. We're going to hold here for a few breaths. So taking whichever pose you'd like, with whatever support you'd like. If you'd like to take a wide-legged child's pose, you can bring the knees to the outside edges of the mat and pull the hips back. And for a more active child's pose, keeping those arms straight and the hands fully engaged. For a more relaxed child's pose, bringing those elbows down and a little bit closer. Maybe grabbing a block or pillow to support the forehead. And taking a few breaths here. Noticing the breath, coming back to the breath. Excuse me. And noticing how the breath here feels different than when we breathe while we're sitting. Feeling the rib cage expanding on the inhale and relaxing on the exhale. If you're in a wide-legged child's pose, bringing those legs back to hip width apart. Taking an inhale, coming back up to all fours. We're going to come into a modified mountain pose. Maybe having blocks or some kind of balance support nearby. Pressing into the tops of the feet and the shins and the knees. Our shoulder blades are squeezing down and back. Crown of the head is pulling up towards the ceiling. Our tailbone is tucked and our core is engaged. Our fingertips are pulling down. Hands are facing forward or in. Chin is pushed back. Ears in line with the shoulders. Whenever you're ready, we're going to bring that left leg forward. Taking an inhale, opening up the chest, maybe bringing the hands to the hips. Spine is nice and long, and we're gently pushing the hip forward. It may not look like you're moving, but that's fine. We don't need to. We just want to feel a stretch here. We are not dropping our belly. We are keeping our core engaged and our lower back protected here. And exhale, gently releasing that stretch and folding over this front leg. It doesn't have to be straight. Inhaling up, gently pushing those hips forward and tucking the tailbone. And exhale, folding over the front leg, keeping the chest open. Inhaling back up, gently pushing the hips forward. The ears are in line with the shoulders. And exhale, folding over the front leg. And inhale, coming up. We're going to hold this. We're going to push our hips forward gently and hold for a few breaths. Remembering to keep our core engaged. Our shoulders are pulling down and back, opening up the chest. Ears are in line with the shoulders, maybe pushing that chin back with your fingers. And breathing here. On a gentle exhale, slowly release the stretch. Maybe grab the blocks for support if you'd like. And fold over this front leg. The leg can be bent or straight, and the toes can be pointed or flexed, depending on what kind of stretch you're looking for or your body needs right now. But remembering we're keeping our shoulders pulled back and our chest open. Our ears are still in line with our shoulders. Our core is still engaged. We're not folding the back. We want to keep a straight back to keep the stretch in the leg. Breathing here. Inhaling, gently releasing that stretch. And coming out, bringing the leg back to meet the other. We're going to pause here in either modified mountain pose or pulling the hips back, coming into hero's pose. With the palms resting on the legs. Whatever pose you're in, keeping that tailbone tucked. The spine is nice and long. Maybe softening the gaze or closing the eyes here. And doing a quick check-in. Taking a few breaths to notice how your body's feeling right now. Notice if you're holding any tension. Maybe going through a quick mental body scan again. Noticing if any tension has changed. Noticing what's different and what's the same. Not trying to change it, just noticing that it's there. If you're in Hero's Pose, we're going to come back up to our modified mountain pose. And we're going to bring that right leg out front. Let's turn here. Inhale, opening up the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades down and back. Hands can come to the hips, gently pushing the hips forward. Again, we're not dropping the belly. We're keeping that lower back protected. And exhale, folding over this front leg. It can be bent or straight. Inhale, coming up, gently pushing the hips forward and tucking the tailbone. Ears are in line with the shoulders. And exhale, folding over the front leg. Keeping this chest open. Inhaling up, pushing the hips forward. Chest is open. Spine is nice and long. And exhale, folding over the front leg. Inhaling up, holding here for a few breaths. Our core is engaged, protecting our lower back. Our spine is long, the chest is open, ears are in line with the shoulders. And we're breathing. Remembering to breathe. And on an exhale, gently push those hips back to release the stretch. Maybe grabbing those blocks again, folding over this front leg. It can be bent or straight. You can play with pointing and flexing the toes. Remember to keep that chest open, ears in line with the shoulders. Our lower back is straight. We're not folding over. We're keeping the core engaged to keep the stretch in the leg. Breathing here. On an inhale, gently releasing that stretch. We're going to come back to our modified mountain pose. Either a modified mountain pose, staying here, tucking the tailbone, or sitting back, keeping that tailbone tucked, coming into Hero's Pose. Maybe grabbing a pillow if you'd like some support here, or just more comfort. Taking a few breaths, maybe softening the gaze or closing your eyes, and doing another quick check-in. Noticing how your body's feeling now compared to the last check-in, or maybe the beginning of class. And if you're in Hero's Pose, coming up to Modified Mountain Pose, and we're going to come to lying on our back. Rolling down, bringing the knees into the chest, maybe rocking from side to side to release that lower back a little bit. And we're going to bring our arms either out to a T or to cactus arms, whatever your preference is. Our legs are about 90 degrees. Then we're going to take an exhale, lowering the knees to the right side. Inhaling, bringing the knees back to center. And exhale, lowering down to the left. Inhale, bringing the knees back to center. Exhaling right. Inhaling center. Exhaling left. Inhaling center. Exhaling right. Inhaling center. Exhaling left. Inhaling center. Exhaling right. We're going to hold here for a few breaths, trying to keep our hips stacked on top of each other if we can. It's perfectly fine if your shoulder comes off the mat. We'd rather have our hips stacked. Maybe placing the hand on top of the leg. Maybe straighten that leg. Relaxing into the pose in whatever way works best for you. We're going to take a few breaths here. On the next inhale, very slowly bringing the knees back to center. Taking a full round of breath here. Taking an exhale and an inhale. On the next exhale, slowly lowering the knees to the left side. Again, try to keep the hips stacked here. It's perfectly fine for the shoulder to come off the ground. And finding your own way to make this pose comfortable for you. We're going to take a few breaths on this side. The next inhale, gently bring those knees back to center, maybe giving yourself a hug, rocking from side to side. And we're going to come into our final relaxation, whatever that looks like for you. Grabbing all the props you like, maybe a blanket or pillow or bolster for underneath the knees to release the lower back. Maybe you have a blanket or pillow under the head. Maybe you've got a blanket covering you. Whatever you need right now for your final relaxation, go ahead and grab those props. And we're just going to take a few minutes feeling the support of the mat and the props holding you up. Or props that are covering you. If you have a blanket, taking a few breaths, going through a quick mental body scan. Starting with the toes, moving up to the feet and the ankles, the shins and the calves, the knees, the quads and the hamstrings, and the hips. Releasing any tension you find in the legs. Moving up to the fingers, through the palms of the hands, the wrists, the forearms, the elbows, the upper arms, the shoulders. Releasing any tension you find in the arms, in the hips, the belly, the lower back, the chest and the upper back, the neck, the jaw, the cheeks, the nose, the eyes, the eyebrows, the forehead, the crown of the head. Taking a few breaths here to release any tension that you may find. Excuse me. Whenever you're ready, starting to lengthen the breath, deepening the inhales and exhales, bringing a little more energy back into the body. Maybe starting to wiggle the fingers and toes, and moving up to the wrists and the ankles. Maybe reaching the arms up overhead for one last full body stretch, all the way from the fingers to the toes. And on an exhale, bringing the knees into the chest, giving yourself one last hug for this class. Rocking from side to side. And whenever you're ready, rolling onto the right side, using your arm as a pillow. And taking a few breaths here to wake up. And whenever you're ready, using the least amount of effort possible, with the head coming up very last, pushing yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Maybe keeping the eyes closed or the gaze soft. Taking an inhale, sweeping the arms up overhead and bringing the hands down together, heart center. Thank you all for joining me as a part of Operation Remote Resilience. And please consider visiting the link below to make a donation. And these donations help support us, teachers, and the organization as a whole, so we can keep doing what we're doing and bringing yoga to you. And supporters like you make it possible for warriors Eddies teachers like me to continue to serve those who serve. And this is Jacquelynne signing off of Operation Remote Resilience. Thank you all for joining me. If you have any questions, feel free to type